Hi sewing friends, I'm Karina from Lifting Pins and Needles. Welcome to my channel. And now today is my turn to participate in the September 2018 sewing event that Akram from Akram's Idea has organized. And she's asked a group of us sewing vloggers that post our makes on YouTube to share a free PDF pattern, step-by-step sort of thing, sew along on our channel. And there are certain dates for us to upload our makes. So today's my turn, and Akram has already uploaded her to sew the All Dress by French Navy patterns, and I'll link that below. And also Fanny from So Many Fabrics already uploaded her sew along for the Ruffle Blouse by Peppermint magazine. I really like that. I want to make it. And I made the Ola dress last year, so I've got those two already on the horizon to make again. And what I'm going to show you today is the Lindy Petal skirt by Each2 Stitch. Now this is a really nice tulip shaped skirt, very easy to make. So it's described as a close fitting knit pencil skirt with high sitting waistband and with elastic, 2 overlapping curved front panels, and 6 sizes from extra small to extra large. In terms of sizing, it will take you from a waist of 25.5 to 39 inches and a hip of 34 to 48 3/4. You're gonna see how easy it is when I insert all the things that I filmed. A couple of things. I go over some aspects there about the choosing your size, the layout, the grain line, all sorts of things. About the fabrics, for this type of fitted pencil style skirt, I would choose at least a medium weight fabric, and it's recommended in the pattern to have at least 50% horizontal stretch. There is a little bit of negative ease going on, and that is necessary when you're making knits, or else they just look like they're gonna hang off you like a sack, you know. So you are going to see me sewing on my sewing machine with a normal zigzag stitch and then go over the seams with an overlocker. And I do that because my overlocker is a semi-industrial that doesn't really, the only object of this overlocker is to finish seams. Like, it's the 3-thread. It's not enough to hold a seam, like it wouldn't be strong enough to hold a seam. That's why you see me double up. But if you just have your normal sewing machine, you can zigzag the edges. And if you have like another type of serger that has a 4-thread or a better strength, you can just overlock this whole thing and skip the zigzags. And I will stop blabbing. It's a very cute skirt. It looks really cute. I love tulips. It's my favorite flower. And so if a skirt sort of looks like that, all the better. Let's hop into the little clip. So let's talk about sizing. My size falls between the M and the L. If you can see the blue circles and the red numbers, I inserted those numbers into the chart. I am going to grade in between the M and the L because I want the finished garment measurements to have a little bit of negative ease, as you can see in the little green rectangles at the bottom. I want the circumference of the waist to be a little bit smaller than my waist and the hips to be a little bit smaller, and that is because I'm working with knit, and this is a really stable knit with good recovery. I don't really like knits to just hang loosely off me. Now these patterns have a layers function. Once you're in Adobe, you can click on that little icon there that I've circled in blue, and that gives you layers where you can choose the sizes you want. Once you're in there, you click on that little thing, and then you just click on the sizes you don't want to see. So I didn't click on the M and the L, and that is what I'm going to print. The file is pretty small, so if you're scared of taping 1,000 pages together, that is not the case. It's only 12 pages. So you're gonna have it taped and put together in no time. Here you can see the blue line on the pattern is the line I have graded between the M and the L. So I've put a line exactly in between those two to get the measurements that I want. It's very common to grade between sizes, not hard to do. Here you can see the back. I've also done the same thing. So sometimes you need to grade from a different size from the waist to the hips. Now the other thing, I need to lengthen this skirt. I am tall and this skirt has a length of 55 centimeters, which would be a bit short for me. So I have, on the lengthen and cut line that you see on the pattern, I've cut and inserted an extra piece of paper. I've lengthened it 4 centimeters or 1.5 inches, and I've trued the side seams there so that they're nice and smooth. I've done that on the front and the back. Now if you are shorter and you need to shorten the skirt, you also use those same lines and you overlap your pattern, and then you also need to remember to true your lines on the side. Now the fabric, it recommends a 50% stretch horizontal, so I've marked there 4 inches and I wanted to stretch over 2 more inches. So you can see there I'm testing it. It's very good fabric, very good recovery, so it's perfectly appropriate for this skirt. Now about grain line, you always see a line going down the pattern pieces that it actually says grain line. That line needs to be parallel to your selvage. So I've placed my pattern piece there exactly on the selvage to save fabric, and it's measuring 23.5 centimeters from the selvage to the line on the top of the pattern and on the bottom of the pattern. I just make sure that they're really nice and straight, and then I can go ahead and pin. This prevents the fabric from twisting and looking horrible if you're not putting it on the grain line. So it is important to consider that when you're laying out your fabric. Here's my layout. There you can see the fold, there's the selvage. I've placed my front pattern piece there right on the edge. My selvage actually doesn't have any difference, so I can go right to the edge, you know, as you can see there, to save a bit of fabric. And I've got my back on the fold, my little waistbands there, and that is how my layout turned out to be. The back is on the fold. And then here are my pieces. You can see my back there is just 1 full piece and a back waistband. And I've got a front waistband and 2 front pieces that when they overlap each other, they'll form a tulip. There's some little notch marks on the hips that I don't like cutting into the fabric. I prefer to mark it, that way I don't damage the fabric. And I can also align my pieces front and back using the marks instead of cutting into the fabric. I've got the 2 front pieces placed like they're going to look. So you can see that lovely tulip shape this is going to take. And so the first step that we're going to do is finish this raw edge at the bottom on both sides, either zigzag or overlock. I'm going to overlock. My overlocker is a semi-industrial. It's very loud and it makes everything vibrate. So I'm not going to show you that much how I overlock, but you can see me doing this portion at least. Where that little corner is where the hem is going to be, and you see it meets the side seam really well. We're just going to pin that there. We're not going to finish the hem yet. I'm doing that on both sides. So the skirt that's underneath as well, we're going to pin this up there. So that's done. And now we're going to unite this to the back piece of the skirt. Here you can see the back piece of the skirt. Very simple. The right side is facing up, and I'm going to match the right sides of the skirt as well. So right sides with right sides. I'm putting the front pieces on top. There are notch marks there on the front and the back. There's my back notch there. I need to match those up. I'll carefully match all the notches and pin all the way down. Now remember, we had that little thing folded there. You just leave it, try to get the pin out of the way, and you're going to be sewing there with a 1 centimeter seam allowance after I've pinned that. Okay, so I have taken my time to pin the side seams, uniting both the back piece and the 2 front pieces that are on top of each other. You can see that that little fold there for the hem is still there. I've just pinned it together, and under there you can see where the other side is. It's also under there, sandwiched between this layer and the back piece. So now just going to go to the sewing machine and sew the side seams with a 1 centimeter seam allowance and also overlock. For knits, I just use a zigzag stitch. It's number 7 on my machine, and I do a narrow zigzag stitch. It gives me the best results. I don't need any fancy stitches, and every machine has it. And I guide myself on the metal plate there for the 3/8 seam allowance or 1 centimeter seam allowance that this skirt has, and that's how I guide myself for sewing. This is how it looks, narrow zigzag, it stretches down, it stretches across. So when I move, the stitches aren't going to pop. Here you can see a side seam up close with the narrow zigzag stitch and the overlocker. If you notice, the front pieces have already been overlocked on the bottom, so they're not raw, but the back hasn't. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I've placed the back and the front waistband right sides together, and then I'm going to sew those sides. Also, we are going to be using elastic inside the waistband. This is a 4 centimeter wide elastic. I have just taken a long strip, wrapped it around my natural waist, comfortable but snug, usually smaller than the waistband. And I have done a little overlap there of about 1 centimeter, and I'm going to stitch that together. Now that my elastic is united, I'm marking quarters, so I'm dividing that circle into 4. You can see my blue marks there, just for the sake of the demonstration so you can see them well. I've done the exact same thing with the waistband, so I've divided that in 4 and marked it there too. And now I'm uniting that elastic to the wrong side of the waistband. The waistband is a circle as well, and I'm uniting them with pins, 4 pins all around the circle. I've matched with pins the mark of the elastic where I marked my quarters, and on my waistband I've put my waistband inside the elastic. The waistband is bigger than the elastic, and so now I'm going to go to the overlocker and I'm going to go stretching out the elastic to match the waistband. I'm not going to be stretching out the waistband, so you're going to see that as I do it. Back to our skirt, I have marked with a pen the center front and the center back like a notch, and then I'm going to slide the skirt inside the waistband right sides together and match those center notches there on the front and the back, and then I'm going to pin all the way around. I've done the front there, and then I go over to the back doing the same thing, and magically everything is pinned. And now it's time to sew all that without narrow zigzag. At this stage we're almost done. I've pressed every single seam. We're looking at the back part of the skirt here. I've pressed the seam going up on the waistband, and I've also pressed my hem so it's easier to sew them up. So all I have to do now is pin around the hem and sew that. Depends on what you have. I like doing twin needles. You can also do a zigzag stitch. This is about 1 inch hem, so that is the waistband there all open, just a whole piece, and you can see part of it has the elastic there. All I have to do is fold it and on the side seams, you can see the seams there. I need to do a stitch in the ditch there that would hold these two together, and do that on both of the side seams, and then the waistband would just be loose in there, and that's how you wear it. I like to press the hem and pin it and then sew it. I think I get better results. So start from the bit that's tucked in and just start pinning. Take it nice and easy. I'm gonna use a twin needle. I've taken out my ballpoint needle that I've been using the whole process and swap it for a twin needle here. Super practical, not hard to use. Now I've got a thread at the back there, and I've got another one on the top in a little bobbin, and so I'm going to thread them both together through the normal way that you'd thread your machine. So following the way you do it normally, just 2 threads and then 1 through each of the needles, and that's how it looks. Just push them back. I changed my thread to 3.5, just a straight stitch, and that's how I go ahead and sew. This is how the twin needle looks, and then on the wrong side it creates some sort of zigzag that allows it to stretch with you, so these really pop. Now I've folded the waistband, we're almost done. All I have to do is stitch in the ditch there and we are done. Here I'm just going through all these layers carefully, and voila, we are done. You can't see the stitch, and it's put them both together. And repeat the same on the other side. Here is my skirt. I chose this Liverpool knit. It's white on the wrong side of the fabric, and then it's got all that print that you would have already seen when I was making it. You can see that lovely tulip shape there where it crisscrosses, and the twin needle did a great job for hemming this skirt. Super simple, hugs your hips and your waist. The elastic I chose around, where I measured it on myself to not be so tight. I've seen ready to wear clothes that just have the waistband folded in, and it's been sewn just on the side seams there. So when you wear it, it's actually not going to be flipping under. Super quick to make. If I hadn't have been filming all the steps and talking my way through the whole thing, I think this would have taken half an hour. I'm sure. It's very, very easy to make, very cute to wear. Have a look at some pictures. You can see how it looks on. You can see the tulip shape there in the middle as it's a bit shorter, and then it goes out to the side. I was spot on with lengthening it 4 centimeters, or else this would have been too short for me, but I'm just tall that way. That's how it looks. Little bit of negative ease on the hips, but not that much. Still nice and roomy. Super cute skirt. Yeah, I'm gonna pop these out in every single color now. Super nice and wearable. So if you decide to make this skirt, you can post your picture on Instagram until the 13th of October and use the hashtag SewTemba2018. And Akram has organized some prizes as well that will be drawn randomly from the people that use the hashtag. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss when I upload a new video. Happy sewing. Bye.